Shri Radha Krishnaya Namo Namaha. At first, I offer my humble prayers in the lotus feet of Lord Shri Radha Krishna. I also extend warm greetings and humble respect to all of you. Today, from the scripture UDDHAV GITA, the last message of Lord Shri Radha Krishna, we will be listening Chapter 8, where Lord is instructing his dear friend and devotee UDDHAV about knowledge through the destruction of gunas, and the Lord teaches as a swan. The holy words from the scriptures are as follows. The Lord said, the gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas belong to the intellect and not to the self. Through sattva one should subdue the other two, and sattva also by means of sattva itself. Through developed sattva a man attains to that form of spirituality which consists in devotion to me. Through the use of sattvika things, sattva is developed. This leads to spirituality. That superior form of spirituality which is brought on by an increase of sattva destroys rajas and tamas. And when both of these are destroyed, iniquity, which has its rise in them, is also quickly destroyed. Scripture, water, people, place, time, work, birth, meditation, mantra and purification. These are the 10 causes which develop the gunas. Of these, those alone are sattvika, which the sages praise. The tamas are what they condemn, while those are rajasika, about which they are indifferent. For the increase of sattva, man should concern himself with sattvika things alone. Thence comes spirituality, and from this again knowledge pending, the realization of one's independence and the removal of the superimposition of gross and subtle bodies. The fire that springs from the friction of bamboos in a forest burns that forest and is quenched. Similarly, the body which is the outcome of an intermixture of the gunas is destroyed in the manner of the fire. Uddhava said, O Krishna, mortals generally know the sense objects to be the source of danger. Still, how do they run after them like a dog, an ass, or a goat? The Lord said, in the heart of an undiscriminating man, the wrong idea of I and mine naturally arises. Then dire rajas overtakes the mind, which is originally sattvika. A man under the influence of rajas cherishes desires with all its sorts of cogitation. Then from a dwelling on the good things, the foolish man gets an inordinate hankering for it. Under the sway of hankering, the man devoid of self-control willfully commits deeds fraught with future misery, being infatuated by violent rajas. Even though distracted by rajas and tamas, the man of discrimination, conscious of their evils, again concentrates his mind without giving away to inadvertence and is not attached to them. Being alert and diligent, one should at the time control one's posture and breath, and resigning the mind unto me, slowly practice concentration. In order that the mind, being withdrawn from everything, may be truly absorbed in me, the above process of yoga has been taught by my disciple Sanaka and the rest. Uddhava said, O Keshava, I wish to know the time when thou taught this yoga to Sanaka and others, and the form in which thou didst so. The Lord said, Sanaka and others, the spiritual sons of Brahma, asked their father the subtle and ultimate goal of yoga. Sanaka and others said, O Lord, the mind is attached to the sense objects and the sense object influence the mind. So for the man who seeks liberation and wants to go beyond them, how do they cease to act and react upon each other? The Lord said, being thus asked, the great Lord Brahma, who is uncreated but the originator of all beings, thought and thought over it, but could not get to the root of the question because his mind was on work. The God, with a view of answering the question effectively, reflected on me. I then repaired to him in the form of a swan. Seeing me, they came forward, touched my feet, and making Brahma their leader, asked me, Who art thou? Being thus asked by the sages, all eager to know the truth, I answered them, Learn from me, O Uddhava, what I said on that occasion. O sages, if your question refers to the Atman, then that reality being one and undivided, such a question is inadmissible. On what ground also shall I, the speaker, stand? Since the bodies of all beings are composed of the five elements, and since they are the same in reality, your question, "Who art thou?" is a mere effort of speech and is altogether meaningless. Understand this rightly, that by mind, speech, sight, and other organs, I alone am cognizant, nothing else. Yes, my sons, the mind is attached to the sense objects, and the sense objects influence the mind. Thus, the sense objects and the mind both intertwine from the body of the Jiva who is ever identified with me. The mind, which through constant dwelling on sense objects is attached to them, and the sense object which influence the mind, one should give up both being identified with me. Wakefulness, dream, and profound sleeps are attributes of the intellect, being due to the gunas. The self is distinct from them, since it is conclusively proved to be their witness. Because entanglement with the intellect sets the gunas in motion in the jiva, therefore one should give it up resting on me, the transcendent. Then the sense objects and mind come to be dissociated. Knowing the bondage due to egoism to be the source of all trouble for the jiva, one should be averse to it and give up one's identification with the intellect resting on the transcendent. Till a man's notion of multiplicity is put a stop to the reasoning, he is as good as sleep, even though awake, for he is ignorant as one fancies oneself awake in dream. As objects other than the Atman are unreal, diversity caused by them is false, as also its passage to other spheres with its causes, as in the case of a man seeing dreams. He who in the waking state enjoys through all his organs objects with ever changing attributes in the outside world, who in dream has experience similar to them in his heart, and who withdraws them in profound sleep, are one and the same Atman, the witness of the three states and the ruler of the organs. This is proved from the persistence of memory in all these states. Thus, reflecting that the three states of the mind due to gunas are created in me by my Maya, and being thus sure about the reality, destroyed egoism, which is a receptacle of doubts, with the sword of knowledge sharpened by inference and competent testimony, and worship me who is seated in the heart. One should look upon this universe as a hallucination, being a phantasm of the mind, now seen and the next moment destroyed like a dream, and extremely shifting like a circle of fire. It is the one consciousness that appears as multiple in form. The threefold distinction due to the transformation of gunas is Maya. Withdrawing the organs from the universe, one should be immersed in one's own bliss. One should give up desires, be silent and free from action. If ever the universe is experienced, it will not lead to error, being one discarded as unreal, but will linger as a memory only till death. The perfect man does not behold the evanescent body, sitting or standing, removed by the chance or destroyed by a chance, for he has realized his true nature. A man dead drunk does not care about the clothes he wears. The body is verily under the sway of destiny and must remain together with the prana so long as the work that originated it has not spent itself. The man who has attained samadhi in yoga and realized the truth no more attaches himself to the body and its appearances, which are all like dreams. O sages, I have told you what is the inmost secret of Sankhya and Yoga. Know me to be Vishnu. Come here to enlighten you on religion. O best of sages, I am the supreme goal of Yoga and Sankhya, the truth in practice and theory of valor and opulence of glory and self-control. All the eternal virtues such as sameness of vision, non-attachment, etc. wait on me, who is beyond attributes and absolute, the beloved friend then self. Having their doubts thus removed by me, the sages Sanaka and the rest worshipped me with great devotion and sang my praises. Being duly worshipped and praised by those great sages, I returned to my abode before the very eyes of Brahma. Thus concludes Chapter 8 from Uddhav Gita, the last message of Lord Shri Krishna. Thank you for listening. Shri Radha Krishnaya Namo Namaha.